Yes, sir. I can boogie. Hello. Very happy chaps this week.
Right.
If you haven't been living under a rock, some big results at the weekend and on Tuesday night. So we'll get onto them. But hello, how are we?
Top of the pops.
Disappointed that you guys have been traitors to your country and instead gone for some old firm bigotry.
Listen, we were the tops in the last one. I wasn't wearing them again.
All mine's on Tuesday for football, so it's all sweaty Betty.
Yes, mine's is in the wash as well. But
Mine
even
has
you've
already
washed
been
yours.
washed.
Oh,
I've got the salt tire, so
Right, this is massive. So give me a second.
wrong way around. What did he say?
What did he say? Right. Right, we'll start off with the tops then, Greg. Go on then, Mr. Big Man.
Had it on before. I haven't felt this good since Archie Gemmill scored. Yada yada yada. Next top, please.
I'm wearing a different number. I'm wearing I think it's a training kit from a similar era to Kyle's one, but he's got the home kit on.
The Hummel finest. Matt's Hummels.
Right, Kyle, we'll start with you for the bevy.
Well, usually we're a beer team, but today we've got a cider. Old Mount, strawberry and apple.
Fruity cider, baby.
It's going down quite nice. I didn't used to like it, but I had it for a change. Hits the spot.
Well, I don't have any beer, but I decided this week I'm going to do the second episode of my whiskey drinking, including it. So my whiskey of the week is one of my favourites. It's a Singleton. This one's the Glenord. I'm a big Singleton man, 12-year-old. I was going to say Greg's favourite, but I better not. So yeah, Singleton, sponsorship, please. Thank you. Right, Greg, you.
I have a Budvar that was purchased approximately 1 year ago.
By who?
By us two. When he came down to Cardiff for the first time. Yes, it's very out of date and it tastes a bit funny, but I'll crack on anyway.
Like the 12-year-olds.
No.
Right, okay, she's Leah. That's
enough of that.
stinking that. Right, last week we were in person, obviously, as you can tell, because you've obviously all watched it. It took us 3 attempts, but we got there in the end. Got a snazzy new intro though, so I'll rate that.
That's what you think of the comments.
Yeah. What do you think? I had some feedback actually that the intro was too long, and I took that into consideration. In my editing genius, I've managed to make it a bit shorter, so it's now only 7 seconds.
Good.
We said we'd come back to the Q&A. We actually did all the questions, but we had our second question, which was optional, but we got quite a few responses, which was, what else would you like to see? So a few humorous ones, more Celtic content. I can't remember if we mentioned that one last week. Boo. An episode when Kyle drinks a proper pint.
Not this week.
Not this week.
Do a match. I can't remember if we read these, but I'm reading them anyway. Do a match report on a team you all despise and try and be fair about it. That's a good one.
What team do you all despise?
More personal stories. I've got a few good ones from the weekend that I'm gonna do my story time again. More Brewdog. Yeah, I can definitely do that.
No.
Special. I've got some in the garage, but I couldn't be arsed going out to get it.
I don't condone beer that promotes sexual assault.
I don't condone it either, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, Bennett. I didn't know that. Special guest for more insights. We're definitely looking at that in the future. We're planning on building it up. Do you mind?
I don't know if you else.
Oh, no, I never saw that. All I could see was you going like.
It.
All right. We're definitely looking into having guests on. We're waiting a wee bit. We're timing it right, I would say. So, stay posted for that one.
Watch this space.
Yes.
If you'd like to come on, please leave us a comment or message us on social media. That.
Anything, to be honest, just get in touch. Even got an email if you're a fan of the email.
Emails.
If you would like to send it by pigeon, don't send it to Cardiff.
Those are big carrier sheep.
Don't say shoot.
I was gonna anyway. Different 11s, so best, worst, etc. We've done a bit of that before, but I definitely think we can incorporate more of that if that's what people like, and some scraps. So I'll save. I think we'll save that one for the next the next in-person episode. I was gonna say next week actually. Something special's happening, but I'll save it till then. Stay tuned. So at the weekend, we explained last week, but I finished work at 2 o'clock and we ran home. Well, drove home. Quickly showered, got my bag, went to Kyle's. We would cut across the Greggs and then cut across the train station in Lockerbie, and we headed up on our way for Queen's versus Edinburgh. Start off with a little story.
Do we have to?
Yes.
We
don't have to even get likes to hear this one because this one's too good not to share. Kyle did say, stay tuned for the story. So, we're on the train, as you'd imagine.
As you do.
And it's very, very busy. There's not a seat in sight. We could have went to the seats that we booked, but we were all in separate bits. So we decided, as a podcast, to stand in that kind of space you go as you go in the doors. So we
The
were
vestibule.
well, whatever that is, in
The
between those,
vestibule.
like, in between those doors, right? So, as you can imagine, it was a bit rocky. So we're kind of it was quite humorous. We were all kind of falling apart until the disaster struck. A gentleman, a not very nice gentleman actually, pushing a pram, was coming through said doors at the, what's it called, Greg?
Vestibule.
Vestibule. He was coming between the carriages.
Yes, and he decided to take a run and hit Greg. As Greg tumbles through the air, me and Kyle watching in horror.
Bit of an exaggeration.
The train driver, or whatever he's called, also decides to put on the brakes. It was like a horror movie. In slow motion, Greg falls into the emergency stop button, the passenger alarm, whatever it's called. Me and Kyle look at each other, look at it, can see that the plastic, whatever it is, has been pushed. Perspex has been pushed into the button, and then a wee noise went off. And then we were all like, oh no. Then all you feel is the brakes coming on. The train comes to a standstill. The wee conductor guy, he's all right. Greg shouted, we're fine, it was an accident. I linked into it, I'm sorry. Microphone isn't working. So the whole train stopped. We've had to wait on the guy. Greg spots the guy down the aisle. The guy doesn't quite understand what that means. Comes over and had to explain it, and he was okay. So basically, Greg was rather embarrassed. V kind of hid, and the gentleman took no blame, even though it was his fault.
He's like, "Pram was a
To
bloody
be fair,
weapon."
to be fair, I don't think even if I had said on the microphone, it was an accident, I'm sorry, which I did, or went, it's all right to him through the carriage, which I did, he still would have to come because he needed to pull the plastic away and reset
He did, yes. But me being me and not being a big train expert, I didn't know that it had to reset the button.
No, neither did I until the time. I managed to somehow not make my EasyJet plane on the way home crash land, so...
Open the emergency door. It's like Madagascar, it's King Julian.
To be fair, we flew over South Wales on the way home, so I could have done that and just jumped it.
Aye, so that's one story. We've got another story coming up soon, but we'll leave that one. Yeah, so it was a successful start to the weekend and us successfully making the train stop.
What do you mean go on?
So yeah, me and Kyle were having an ick off that weekend. See who could do the most icky thing. Greg took the biscuit about 10 minutes in.
And I wasn't even playing.
There's no coming back from that.
No, we're gonna have to move on to the next game. It's 1-0 Greg. We can maybe do that. We can maybe do a football ick competition. If someone does something very, like big enough that it is an ick. So Greg's 1-0 you. So at least you're winning something.
Not the predictions.
Oh, come on to them.
Oh,
Don't you worry.
Jumping the gun.
So obviously, yes, we managed to get up. We had a few bevies on the train. This was actually after Greg pushed the emergency button. Got to Edinburgh, had a few drinks with a few Dumfriesians. Now, well, it was a Dumfriesian.
Dunhamers?
I know, but I like the word Dumfriesian.
I don't.
I can tell by your face. Sorry for our Queen of the South related viewers. a Dunhamer, and then we went to the glorified David Keswick Centre that is
Meadowbank.
Meadowbank. It was.
Can we clarify?
Meadowbank.
Glorified
It
David
was
Keswick
terrible.
Centre gives Meadowbank far too much credit.
To
Yeah.
be fair, at least the David Keswick Centre for our Dumfries listeners has at least the seats go up and give you a
It
better
has some
view.
elevation. It probably
Yeah,
has more
it's-
seats.
So for those who haven't seen Meadowbank, it's literally a sports centre. There's a stand with 3 rows, and the rest you have to stand round a fence that is round the running track. So you can imagine how far away it is. If you think Hampden's bad, this is worse.
It's not 2 running tracks.
No,
No,
it's,
but
it's
it's
one running track.
There's steeplechase.
Long jump and steeplechase and all that incorporated.
Yeah. I would say actually, I've since found out since we've been there that actually there's some trees that have been demolished on the far side. And part of that is that means that eventually on the other side of the park there is going to be a proper football stand there at some point. So the experience
Good.
might improve. If we're still in the
And-
same league, we might have to go back and try that out at some point.
Come on, Island bottle just for anyone watching.
But to be fair, the scram was
That's
banging.
I do have to say the burgers were good. Me and Kel indulged in a
Up with the cuisine.
Yes. Was there even pies? I don't even know.
No,
I think that would have been.
I think we would have went
No,
for a
it
pie.
wasn't.
There wasn't a yeah, there wasn't. You're right.
I don't know.
I sampled the packet of salt and vinegar squares from the Meadowbank vending machine. Can't say that about many other SPFL grounds. You can't get a packet of salt and vinegar squares at an extortionate £1.10 from a vending machine.
Yeah, but they were a grab bag, weren't they? They were decent size.
Well, how much
Yeah,
did you
I ignore my grab bag.
So, to be honest, I'm not going to lie. I didn't really take in that much of the game due to the fact that we're at eye level and it was impossible to see.
I didn't care who was playing. It was just black v white.
It all just blurred into one. It was honestly like watching it on an old telly. Like you just didn't know what was going on.
That definitely
Well,
wasn't a drink.
Yeah, we weren't even,
that didn't help. That definitely didn't help.
we weren't even that bad though. It's been worse.
No, we weren't. Oh, definitely been a lot worse. What game was Peterhead earlier on in the season? We'll not talk about. We'll maybe bring that one up in another podcast.
Peter this weekend.
It is,
Yes.
and I'm working. I'm trying to get a shift swap, so hopefully.
It's steaming.
But yeah, obviously 1-3-1, great result. It conceded towards the end, which was a bit
It's a good
disappointing. But to be
finish.
honest, it was disappointing. But at the same time, we won, so that's all we wanted.
Clean sweep.
Yeah,
Anyone who watches the highlights, if you want to watch them on the FC Edinburgh YouTube, the highlights are not that much better in terms of how much you can see.
The guy said his phone filming it.
I was watching the highlights to see if I could see us in our near altercations with the FC Edinburgh Ultras. This is our next story we're coming on to. So we were standing with the fellow QOS fans. The stands here, and we were round the fence area here. And adjacent was the FC Edinburgh Ultras. Their average age was 12. They were a group of young boys, but to be honest, right, as we did wind them up a bit, and they were giving us absolute pelters as well. Good on them for making an atmosphere. I'd say they were maybe bar their hostility towards the away fans, but you get that in every stadium. But no, fair play to them. Actually, I thought they tried to create an atmosphere, which is good.
Well, there's a better atmosphere there than I've seen at Palmerston on a fair few occasions.
Oh, definitely.
They did good for being young boys.
But yeah, as I say, there was a bit of hostility towards us when the other Queen's fans moved round to the other stand to try and be close to the game. We stayed and had a few chants directed at us.
Anything to share? Please share. with us.
My one was take your Stony and fuck off home. Craig, what was yours again?
Batty Giza wave.
I don't think you had a chant, Kev, but
I got off scot-free.
they came up to put a sticker on Greg, and Kyle grabbed it and ripped it, and he was raging. The highlight of that for me was when the wee boy went up to the steward and asked him if he could tell the ultras, as in us, to move away, which I thought was good. Made me feel big and strong.
It's nice to see we're ultras, and I've definitely not attended a single figure number of Queen's games this year.
My head got bigger, which is quite hard to believe.
It was all good until the Hibs fans that were watching it walked past. That was a bit scary, but not going to lie.
Well, they said the boys said they were on our side, the Hibs fans.
Ah, they were, but we were giving them the wee ones grief, and then they just appeared, and I was like, oh no. Big Woo Sam.
Didn't they face me?
Oh, aye. like Scooby-Doo shaking.
Oh, that's because it was cold.
To be fair, the rain held off till the end, didn't it?
And then it really came.
So yeah, Queens did really well.
They did. Good run of form now.
Yeah, hopefully continue it. So I'd
Up
imagine
7.
so. Yeah, I'd imagine picking up 3 points on Saturday.
You've said it now.
I know. Touch wood. But yeah, it was nice to see a bit of positivity in the Queen's support as well.
But I think if you don't mind me keep saying about Queens, it was one of those games that at half time it was really quite close. And we were lucky to not be behind at the break. Like they hit the post, they had a couple of good chances first half. I think Bartley was very clear in his post-match interview about that he had some choice words to say at half time. And second half, the performance really ramped up. And if that is the level that Queenside are capable of, then next season's looking really good, I think.
I mean, a season later than planned, but better late than never. I think Marvin's steadying the ship at least, so that's a positive. Hopefully, over the summer, bring a few more of his players in. Probably half the ex-Hibs players and Livingston players, but there's one more thing I was going to say. It's went out of my mind. Oh yeah, we walked past a celebrity about 40 times and never noticed on the way to the toilet. Marvin's missus, Ailey Barber, was what they were watching in the VIP section, which Greg spotted was the
hospitality section. Yep, which was just an A4 sheet of paper sellotaped onto a seat that had hospitality on it.
It was laminated.
At least it was laminated and it was typed.
I never really noticed.
It was in size 70 to 72 font.
Comic Sans.
I wish.
It was Times New Roman.
Wingdings.
So that was Friday night. We cut back across to Glasgow and stayed at a friend's house, and then it was near Hampden, and then we attended the Scotland versus Cyprus game. Does someone want to share their thoughts on the games?
I mean,
we can't share our thoughts on the national anthem because we missed that.
Because it went the wrong way.
Yeah, Hampden is like shit.
I don't like it.
I really just like the outside of it seemed really badly organised and just people everywhere. It didn't seem amazing to me.
Well, we technically went to the right stand, but we were at the wrong side. We had to go all the way around.
Yeah, and there's no reason for that.
Safety, I guess.
But there's no reason why we couldn't have went in those turnstiles, up the steps, and just along at the inside.
Well, that's what I thought we were going to do, but they wouldn't let us in.
Yeah, it's a bit stupid. But yeah, we're in the other end. We're in the West Stand for the other game which we are attending, which is in November against Norway.
Yeah,
we might even be qualified by them, lads.
It would be lovely.
I'd love that. Go to Gelsenkirchen and Stuttgart and such.
Exactly. I found a Snapchat that I saved at the start of the game saying John McGinn goal inbound. I wish I'd put a bet on it.
I did.
I had one of McTominay. McTominay.
Well, McTominay came on. McTominay Masterclass. Aye.
McSauce.
That's 2 bets in 2 games I've won with Scotland.
Sorry?
That's 2 bets in 2 games I've won with Scotland.
Yeah, we'll come on to this game.
We'll come on to that on Tuesday night. But yeah.
What? Are we recording it again?
No, we'll come on to the bet when we discuss Tuesday night's game. I thought, especially compared to Tuesday night, and it's hard to say that without mentioning that game, I thought the atmosphere was quite flat.
Yeah, it definitely was. I was saying to folk, for a 3-0 win, it didn't feel like a 3-0 win.
But I think that proves how far we've come. The fact that actually that there's a level of expectation there now.
There's belief.
I wouldn't say there's belief. I don't believe.
I do.
There's some level of we should be beating Cyprus, but we might not.
No, but there's a good feeling.
Believe.
There's a good feeling that we could qualify for this.
I believe
tournament.
that we.
I believe that we will. I believe that we will win. Is this
finished? Good.
That was an aye, so McGinn obviously opening up the account, and then McTominay coming on and scoring 2.
Not Dykes, McTominay.
Not Dykes. I can't tell the difference.
There's another story. There's another story. Celebrating, going mental. I was like, that was McSauce. That was McSauce. No, it was Dykes. It was Dykes. Me and Greg were about to start scrapping in the sand. Then it came up on the
You want more
screen.
scraps?
Number 4, Scott McTominay.
I evidently can't see, but for those people who know me, that's not new.
Didn't he have his Gibbs on?
No,
Had his contacts that he threw at me.
I did.
That's another story. Kel's been greeting because Greg took his contacts out and threw them at him.
I like them. They're vile.
They are disposable, to clarify. I didn't just throw my contacts out and go blind for forever. They are disposable.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with them, but he was having a freak
No.
out.
He didn't appreciate it getting put on the top of his can of dark fruits.
I started drinking and fucking see through it.
So that then followed on to Tuesday night when I was unfortunately working but had the radio on. What a result. Scotland 2,
What?
Spain 0. I mean, I never thought I'd be saying that. I had a feeling we would get a good result, but not in that manner.
Nah. I had literally no expectation. But then the thing is, I had no expectation. Then you look at the Spain squad they put out and you go, actually, we could do them.
They made 8 changes from the team against Norway.
Exactly. And another good thing that happened that wasn't really our doing, but Norway and Georgia drew 1-1.
Yep.
So I think that's a positive as well.
We are already 5 points ahead of Norway. That's
Exactly.
huge.
So after 2 games.
That was the team we were worried about.
That's the team we are worried about. You know, Norway away is the next game. If we get a positive result there.
When's the next game?
In June.
For any Viva Scotland song fans, that's all we heard all weekend. They're going, in June.
To be fair, it's usually in key, unlike me. So
It was good.
And key.
thank you.
It was a mix between that and Avicii that we kept singing.
Yeah.
We're not singing that.
No.
But yeah.
Okay.
20 likes will do a rendition.
Yes, 20 likes and me and Kel will sing that.
Waiting for love.
Waiting for Love is the one we were talking about. So I mean, Sauce Masterclass again scoring 2. We owe an apology. Shout out to Thomas for pointing this out. None of us really incorporated McTominay into the team, barred in defence. I mean, I said he should be a midfielder, but I don't think I actually incorporated him into my final 11. But you know what? Fair play.
I thought
Favourite player.
He was a good
We
false
picked
nine.
Gilmore over him.
Yeah, we did. What mistake that was. That shows why Steve Clark's got the job and we don't.
He's
Yep.
there 2026 and we're not.
So yeah. But
I
I'll be
have
chatting as well.
while we're doing apologies, I would also like to apologise to the big indecent himself, Grant Hanley. Fridge, you've proved me wrong. You were immense for 180 minutes.
Hit my phone over there.
One every
Adam
hand.
Friesian.
Well done, mate.
Adam Friesian.
Doing Hamer.
Scotland were like, I said this to you guys afterwards. I don't think I've ever seen a better performance from Scotland.
I
That
obviously
is-
listened to it, but honestly, to see it, even listen to it, you can tell that we're all over them.
Bossed it. At no point, as much as in my head, I was going, we're going to concede here. We're going to concede here. We're going to concede 1, and then 2 is going to follow straight after, and that's us fucked. We didn't. And watching the highlights back, we didn't look like we were going to.
I know.
Well, hit the
Well,
bar or post or something at Spain, but
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Hostelou
Did get a bit of a fright when that happened.
at 1-0, but you know, it's Hostelou.
Rodri came close enough with something.
Yeah.
We're coming on to him. One thing I was going to say actually, when the second goal went in, I did a lap of the shop. I ran around. I shouted to Ian, and I ran round up the top and then back down. Shout out Ian. He was watching it. I didn't have Viaplay, so
Yeah.
I was listening. I know
Had you told me, we could have shared my Viaplay account.
we wouldn't because the Viaplay wouldn't allow that after the grief I got last week with the season ticket.
I think you'll find multiple devices that are allowed to use it.
Oh well, I'll take that off you because I kind of want the account.
More scraps, more scraps, more scraps, more scraps.
More scraps will happen soon. So yeah, great result. Greg, you've got some statistics and quotations and such to go over.
Yes, so I did my favourite activity when my football team wins, which was to read the reaction from the opposing side. Shout out to Falkirk Twitter recently for being incredibly salty bastards. But yeah, the fantastic quote in the Spanish paper Mundo Deportivo, thanks Google Translate. La Roja failed their visit to the football temple of Hampden Park, where more than 50,000 throats roared until they were hoarse with the victory of their team and the goals of their hero Scott McTominay. Marca, another big Spanish paper, said Scotland didn't play living room football, which is referred to in English as champagne football, but it's real football. In the second half, there were only Warriors, sons of William Wallace, which is just, how many Scottish stereotypes do you want? But
It's quite inspirational, that.
They're wearing Iron Brew and wearing kilts and eating haggis with ginger hair.
I think it's also, foreign papers get a rep for giving, bad ratings to players. But every single Spanish player, there was 2 Spanish players who received 6 out of 10. Everyone else received 4 or 5. The 2 Spanish players were
Rightfully so.
Hostelou, who got pulled after about 60 minutes, and Nico Williams, who came on after half time and was like the only Spanish player who I thought might have made an impact. Yeah.
So
And then,
overall, from the reporters and that there, they have quite a positive view towards Scotland performance there.
yeah, they seem to kind of fully appreciate we were the better side on the night.
All right.
Big up them, Marca, and what was the other one?
Deportivo La Coruña, was it?
Mundo Deportivo.
The football club just started writing reports.
Yeah, they were fairly positive.
So,
Not
I believe that there was a certain, some quotations you had about a certain player, was what I was going to say. Mr. Rodri decided that he was going to cry his eyes out after the game and come up with every excuse under the sun because he lost.
Yeah, he has lost. And actually, the Spanish papers were like, they don't reference Rodri's interview at all, but they did say kind of Rodri was abandoned in the middle of the park, and that when they went 2-0 down, Rodri just kind of gave up. And they also said there's no doubts he's now kind of the key player in that Spanish national team, but he's no Busquets, is basically what they've said.
Again. Serves him right. Great in face.
Only one Manchester defender came out on top. Midfielder. Sure.
How much old Mount have you had?
Enough old Mount to kill a small child.
Wait, it's Old Mount. It's not Old Mount. What? Why is there an N going in the name of that cider?
Mount. Mout.
Is it?
It tells you on it how to pronounce it.
Old Mount.
Yeah, but
it's not. The card's not in front of me.
It's not on here either.
It's on a bottle. On a bottle of it, it tells you, and it's pronounced Mout.
Oh, it wasn't in front of me, so I didn't know. I thought it was Mount. I'm sorry.
I say Mount. Mout. Mount. No N.
Well, you're pretty cider. I also saw one. I can't remember who said it, but apparently one of the players was moaning about the pitch being too long.
That was David Garcia, Osasuna defender. Osasuna defender has only ever played for Osasuna. Called up first cap at the age of 29. And the Spanish papers also had a go at him. They said the reality is he's not at the level for the national team. Again, get it right, Kate.
Well, it's true, because they used to only do Madrid and Barcelona players. Now it's Osasuna and Celta Vigo and such.
I think the managers of those got put in De La Fuente, who's took over after Luis Enrique since the World Cup, which also didn't go too well for them. He has previously managed kind of youth levels, so I think he did under 19s and under 21s. So he's kind of picked players he's known from back in the day and tried them out. But if anyone thinks that Hostelou and Iago Aspas are the solution to Spain's problems, I think they're a bit deluded. Hostelou wasn't good enough for Newcastle. The fact is you've got 2 Newcastle United rejects on that Spain team, Hostelou and Mikel Merino, and on the Scotland side you've got John Carver.
It's like being 2015 again.
Best coach in the Premier League.
It's not quite David Villa and Fernando Torres up front now, is it?
No.
I think we don't have Christian Malumu either, so
thank God for that.
Or Stephen Fletcher.
No, we're relying on goals from midfield these days.
We've got the Darren Fletcher regen.
I stand by that. Because it's true.
So yeah, so sorry to make sauce, but brilliant. Get it round the Spanish.
Yeah,
Face.
well, and Steve Clark, and
yeah.
a bit of a negative reaction to him getting a new 4-year contract ahead of the games, but
Well, I
like
think
he
it's just
shut
been
everyone up.
justified. Yeah, definitely. So
Where do we go, Germany, lads? Booking tickets. I can't
Hopefully.
believe we're going to win the Euros.
Hopefully, well, I'll definitely buy tickets to the final. I'll be working the rest of it.
I'm played in the final.
Are you
He's
going
got his
to
first cap.
injury crisis?
I'm going to be like the Chris Boyd regen.
So shit.
He just we shout out for him actually. He scored in the Rangers Legends match on Sunday. I saw watched the highlights. There you go. Van Persie got like 2 or 3.
I think Wilshere scored.
Wilshere scored the first one.
What
Man,
the keeper?
What age is he? He's not even that old.
32.
He's surely younger than that.
I'm serious.
I thought he was 30, but
I thought he was 30 because I thought he retired last year at 29. Robert is now doing the same as me and Googling it quickly.
He's 31.
He's 31. Christ.
His
career is shocking. Over 14 years, he's made a grand total of 210 appearances.
He's made a plasticine. No wonder.
Right, let's move on. Right, so last week we played. We played 1 game, but in theory we actually played 4 because the first 3 didn't actually record, and we did that first 2 recordings.
I made a big punch up as well.
Yeah, I was ready to leather Greg, but it's okay. Hale was close second. No, I was just being moody, but we played a game. So Greg has made another game that we're going to continue, as this was actually our favourite one. Shout out to Kieran, who listens to the podcast. He was apparently screaming Ross County, and me and Kev just couldn't get it.
He couldn't quite link to my head. I've got Newcastle mode on. He's not Newcastle.
Yes.
He's a true Sunderland. So, but thanks for listening, pal. Keep listening.
Sunderland Kieran.
Is he from Sunderland? Why is he listening? Tell him to fuck off.
No. We like Kieran.
Yes.
Just 3 pints on a Kieran.
If you want to come on, mate, feel free. Right, Greg, game.
Yes, I'm trying to conveniently, because I have a soundboard. So we have no idea if this will work. So here is some live podcast experimentation.
The big
Despite
word.
the fact, yes.
Live.
Podcast.
Yes, some live podcast experimentation. If you get it right, you will hear this noise. Did you two actually hear that?
No.
No, that's gone absolutely terribly. We'll try again.
I keep going.
Right, you'll hear that noise. No?
No.
Oh well, sod that. We tried. I'll think of a better solution for next week.
Are you sharing the audio properly?
I mean, I played it off my phone, so that'll be why it isn't working, because I never thought to put it on my PC. But we'll sort it at some point. Anyway.
We'll do that for next week. We'll do a game next week. Oh, no.
We will.
We'll see.
Yes. So we're going to do best of 3. Again, if you like this, tell us in the comments. Same as last week with the categories. Name an answer that fits into that category. If you repeat, stall, or get one wrong, you're eliminated. Yes.
There was a comment in the comment section, funnily enough, about double or answers, sorry.
Yep, it was written by you. I don't care if you repeat it.
No, it wasn't written by me. It was not written by me. It was written by someone else.
Kyle.
Yeah, below.
Yeah, it was written by one of you, so no. If you repeat an answer, it's your fault. Tough.
That's
so
not very fair.
For the first go this week, we are appropriate since you've got some Rangers tops on. There are 23 possible answers. We're looking for any Old Firm manager since the 2000-2001 season, including caretakers. As I said, there are 23 answers. I think Kyle won last week, so Robert, you can go first.
Of course I fucking won.
Right.
Old Firm, both sides, of course.
So any manager that's managed before,
after,
managed either Old Firm team, including caretakers, since the 2000-2001 season.
Right. Michael Beale.
Michael Beale is correct. Ding.
Van Bronckhorst.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is correct.
Ange Postecoglou.
Correct, unsurprisingly.
Ronnie Dial-a-Bus.
Ronnie Tyler is correct.
Graham Murty.
Graham Murty, spot on.
Neil Lennon.
Neil Lennon is
Lemon.
correct.
Oh wait, what did he? Pedro Caixinha.
Pedro Caixinha, Eddie's Hedge.
Stephen Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard, absolutely spot on.
Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan O'Rodgers.
One of my favourite Only Excuse sketches is that his CD was brilliant. Right, time wasting going.
Walter Smith.
Walter Smith.
God rest his soul.
Correct.
Martin O'Neill.
Martin O'Neill, appointed at the start of that season, correct.
Was it? I thought it was. What year are we talking from?
2000, 2001.
I thought it was a lot later than that. There you go then. What was that person? Mark Warburton.
Mark Robertson.
Warburton. Yeah, put off on the pronunciation.
Close enough.
Oh wait, who's? I'm mastering my temples here to remind myself. Right, I'm going for a. I don't know if it's in that time frame. Dick Advocat.
Dick Advocat is correct.
That's my next one.
We want our Dick back.
Andrew, do you like Dick?
We're even giving him time and he's struggling.
I've got an answer.
I feel like I'm sitting. There's one that's like a glaring.
There's a
I've
couple.
got one in the mind.
I'm gonna go. I think it's wrong. I'm going to go for it. Is it Johan Malby? Malby?
Johan Malby was never a caretaker, I'm afraid, or a permanent manager. Point to Robert.
I was
Other
going
ones
out
you
to
could have
McLeish
had-
next. I was going out to McLeish next.
Other ones you could have had: Ian Durrant, John Kennedy was a caretaker.
Durant.
Durant?
Ian Durant. That's what his name is.
Yeah, okay.
Or is that
I know
different?
someone
Wait.
with that surname and they pronounce it differently. No, that is who it is.
Is he Ian Durant? When was he?
Durant.
Caretaker.
When?
I can't actually remember. I don't have that on my notes page, I'm afraid. Paula Glenn, Stuart McCall, Ali McCoist, Kenny McDowell, Alec McLeish, Tony Mowbray, Jimmy Nicholl, and Gordon Strachan.
I had McCall and McCoy sitting away ready.
Yeah, so the next one.
I was saving Advocate, but fuck that. Never got a chance.
All I got in my head is I nearly threw a wobbler over John McGinn.
All right.
Musa, get the fuck.
Get fuck. Lay your head next to mine on the sunbeds.
The next category, since we've seen Queens at the weekend, and it is about Queen of the South, there are 26 possible answers for this one.
Jesus.
It is players for Queen of the South who made at least one league appearance in the 2014-15 season, notable for being the season with Rangers, Hearts, and Hibernian in the Scottish Championship, where Queen of the South finished fourth and were eliminated in the playoffs by Rangers. Kyle, you to start this time.
Derek Lyle.
Derek Lyle, correct.
Gavin Riley.
Gavin Riley.
Daniel Carmichael.
My next one.
Daniel Carmichael, yes.
Chris Higgins.
Chris Higgins.
Andrew Dewey.
Andy Dewey, spot on.
Michael Durnan.
Mark.
Mark, sorry. Mark.
No, that's not allowed.
You said Warpington, so I'm taking... No.
Mark
Durnan was
Durnan, but yeah.
Yes.
I'll go for it if you get the surname right, you're fine.
Yeah, thank you. Well, he got Warpington wrong. Don't pull faces at me. That's 1-1 in that field of mispronunciation.
Alejandro Holt.
Are you doing that to take the piss?
Kevin.
Yes.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Xander Clark.
Yep.
Ian, my hero, Russell.
Yep.
Um,
That's Robert.
Jim Atkinson.
Yes, he did.
Oh wait, one appearance, one. Oh Jesus, I shot myself there.
Is
He
it?
did make a league appearance, yeah.
Or is it just the league?
Oh,
Just the
jeez.
league.
Just the league, right?
I did look. I don't think there's a great difference. There might even be no difference.
Stephen McKenna.
Yes, he did.
The name that I was getting muddled up with, it might be wrong, but I'm going Michael Payton.
Michael Payton is correct. Bionic
That's I was
hamstring
I was going to go
insert.
Michael Payton and then changed my mind to Mark Durnan, and that's why I got confused. You
Right.
see,
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane, who I thought you were going to say when you said my hero and then the word Ian.
so did I. This might be wrong, and it's a punt in the dark. Dan Orsay.
Dan Orsay is incorrect. It's
Ah.
right.
I've got two.
Was he the
You've
season
got
before?
two. I'll tell you if they're right.
You've got Mark Kerr
Yeah.
and scumbag John Baird.
Yes, he is. The wanker himself.
What about Kevin Jasowski?
Yes, Kim Jerzowski.
Oh, I was going to say him.
Other ones that you've not mentioned: Paul Burns, James Fowler, even though he's the manager, did make an appearance
he was my
before,
semi.
before he became player manager. Scott Hooper, Lewis Kidd, Greg Kilty, Mark Miller, Chris Mitchell, Jake Pickard, Aidan Smith, and Dean Smith.
That's a mental squad compared to what we've got now.
Yep.
This is really weird, but I've been thinking about Jake Pickard a lot recently.
He's got him in Wikipedia. Looking up on Wikipedia.
He's not on Wikipedia.
You'll have to make the page.
Make his page and Greg will edit it for you.
Right, the last one, the decider, Robert, to go first.
Oh,
There are 27 possible answers. We have done managers, we've done players, we're now on clubs. We're going beyond Scottish football.
I hate the clubs one.
So since the 2000-2001 season again, any champion of a top 5 European league. So that's a champion of England, France, Germany, Italy, or Spain since the start of the 2000-2001 season.
Leicester City.
Correct.
Chelsea.
Correct.
You said since 01, didn't you?
Since 2000-2001.
Manchester United.
Manchester United.
Man City.
Man City. Yep. We're getting the English ones out of the way.
Liverpool.
Yep.
Arsenal.
Correct. Got to move on now.
Bayern Munich.
Bayern München. Correct.
Dortmund.
Borussia Dortmund. Yep.
Real Madrid.
Oh, we've moved away from the Germans. Yep.
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid. Correct.
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
PSG.
Paris Saint-Germain. Yep.
Oh, I was going to go for that one. Let's see. No. Inter Milan.
Inter. Yep.
Juventus.
Yep.
AC Milan.
AC Milan's correct. Yep.
So they have.
We're getting into some of the more obscure ones
Diddy.
now.
Wolfsburg.
Wolfsburg. Correct.
Right. I don't think this is right, but I'm going for it. Lille.
Lille is correct. Twice.
Montpellier.
Montpellier. Correct.
Nah, that's been done now. What are the top 5 pieces?
England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain.
That's what I've went through them all in my head. What countries have we got left? I know we've done England.
All of
Been
the
them all.
rest. All of the rest.
All right. Oh, I don't know. Right. Give me 2 seconds.
Added time.
Oh, I don't know. I've lost it. Leverkusen.
Bayer Leverkusen is incorrect.
No, I thought it would
However,
be.
I've got
You have
two.
gave one more answer than Kyle. Like you started, so it's only right that Kyle should have to give a correct answer to win.
All right, Roma.
Yeah, correct. There we go. Kyle wins.
Was Verona one? Hellas Verona.
Hellas Verona are not one. So the other champions you've not mentioned, there's 5 from France, 5 from France, 2 from Germany, 1 from Spain. The French
Marseille one?
Yeah, Marseille,
Monaco.
Debated
Monaco,
that.
Marseille, Monaco, Lyon, who won a ridiculous amount. Bordeaux, who won it.
I'm not really clued up on my French football. I'm not going to lie.
Nantes is the other one.
What'd you call me?
The Spanish one that you never got is Valencia.
I thought that.
And two other German ones are Stuttgart and Werder Bremen.
You should have got that. Big Werder Bremen.
I might have got that, but I wasn't.
Did you have another round to take it? Is that why you were wanting to?
No, that was it. It's best of three. But just to make sure, because it feels a bit wrong if you give a wrong answer, but he's named less correct answers than you. Anyway, that is that.
Well, that was
win
enjoyable.
for
At
Kyle.
least I won one round.
There are some more of them still in my notes folder. If people like it, we can do some more again at some point, and I'll get a soundboard that works.
Aye, so that was good. So yeah, predictions. Let's do them.
Oh, that's
I
me
want to
as
talk
well.
about these. Yeah.
Predictions. Yes. So back to my proper spreadsheet this week. Robert had a great week last week, scoring 7 points. Me and Kyle scored 5. That takes the total to myself and Robert on 81, and Kyle in front on 84. He's keeping that 3-point gap. Notable results from last week. None of us predicted that Hamilton would win the Challenge Cup final. We all predicted that Scotland would beat Cyprus, Spain would beat Norway, and England would beat Ukraine. We all predicted that Iceland would beat Liechtenstein, but maybe not 7-0. We all predicted that Belgium would beat Sweden. And then Robert picked up his 2 extra points by predicting that Slovakia would beat Bosnia and that England under-21s would beat France under-21s. No one saw Morocco beating Brazil.
To be fair, we did say that they were playing well, but we still went Brazil.
That was a draw.
I think Kyle let a draw.
No, Kyle did go a draw.
I'll get the point then.
What did we both say? Brazil won.
Brazil won.
Anyway. Sunny, innit?
This week, back to the usual format, Robert's picks. So starting the Scottish Premiership with Kilmarnock versus Hearts. Kelly are only 3 points off the bottom, and it looks like a 3-way fight. Hearts are looking to cement 3rd place, but their margin has decreased after losing their last 2. That was an early indication from what Robert is going to pick.
Hearts
for me as well.
The jam tarts.
Hearts from Kyle. 3
The
for
water
jam
farts.
tarts. Other games, St Johnstone versus Aberdeen. St Johnstone are looking safe, but the top 6 is unlikely now after them only winning one of their last 5 games. Aberdeen are mounting an assault on 3rd and have lost only one of their last 5, which was against Celtic. I'm going for an Aberdeen win.
×2, was Gail to say.
×3.
×3. So that's away wins for both Hearts and Aberdeen, according to us. Into the Scottish Championship, it is Morton versus Inverness. Morton are looking to challenge Partick for 4th, but haven't won any of their last 4. Inverness 1 place and 3 points behind them. I'm going for a draw.
I'm going for Inverness Caledonian Thistle win.
As am I.
Other game of the Championship is Wraith versus Queen's Park. Cup final disappointment for Wraith, who look comfortable in mid-table. Queen's Park have a 4-point lead at the top, but Dundee have a game in hand. Queen's Park lost to Arbroath last Friday night.
I think it's going to be a draw.
I'm going for a Queen's Park win.
Queen's Park.
Queen's Park, for anyone who sees that the same way I did, that was backwards. Into League One, it is 3rd versus 4th. Alloa versus Airdrie, both on a run of 3 straight wins. Alloa currently occupy 3rd, but Airdrie would leapfrog them with a win.
I'm going Alloa.
Airdrie.
I'm going for a draw.
Ooh.
Probably quite a high scoring draw, considering Airdrie can't seem to defend, but can seem to absolutely batter teams. Other game in League One is Dunfermline versus Kelty. Dunfermline 11 clear at the top thanks to Falkirk's shaky run. Kelty remain comfortably 8th, 7 points behind Montrose in 7th, and 19 points in front of Clyde in 9th. Dunfermline win for me.
Going Dunfermline win also.
For a Kelty Hearts loss.
Kelty Hearts loss.
That was an ick, ladies and gentlemen. That was an ick.
It was an ick because I basically typed it. League 2, Dumbarton versus Stennismuir. Dumbarton are now behind Stirling in the League 2 title race after their midweek loss to Forfar. Stirling have also played a game more. Dumbarton have also played a game more, and there is no wins in 3 for Dumbarton. Stenny sit 6th, but only 2 points off the playoffs. I'm going for a draw.
I was going to say that.
Say it then.
Still can.
Draw. Draw.
Dumbarton.
Barton for Kyle. Other game in League Two is East Fife versus Annan, third versus fourth in League Two as well. Annan was leapfrog the Fifers with a win, but could fall behind fourth, but if they lose, the home side unbeaten in 4, Annan winless in 2. I'm going for an East Fife win.
I'm going by the team that young Thomas Goss plays for. I'm going for Annan.
I'm going for AA. I don't mean John Cena.
2 wildcards this week. First one is in the Bundesliga. It is one of the champions since 2000, Wolfsburg, taking on Augsburg. Wolfsburg are 7th in the Bundesliga with only 1 loss in their last 4 games. Augsburg have lost twice in their last 5 and sit 12th, but are only 8 points off the bottom. I'm looking for a home win for Wolfsburg.
I'm going for a draw.
Oh, over the Wolfsburg.
Wolfsburg as well. And the other game is in League 1. It is Rennes versus Lens. Apologies to anyone French listening. I can't speak French. Rennes are inside the European places by a point in 5th. The away side Lens are up into 3rd and unbeaten in the league in their last 5 games. Lens have won the fewest games in the league. They've lost less games than PSG have.
I'm going a draw again. I'm draw daft the night.
I'm also draw daft. I'm going for a draw as well.
Get your notepads. I'm drawing. Draw.
I'll never have guessed.
Just Greg's looking a bit confused.
I'm not looking at you confused. I'm looking at you disappointed. That is the end of the predictions for this week.
Thank you very much, pal. Spot on as always. I've lost my running order. There we go. So that brings us to an end. That was good. Hope everyone enjoyed that Scotland review. Again, great result. So big up the boys, big up Steve Clark. Next week, I am actually taking I was going to say train. I'm not. We're going in the car. I'm going down to visit Greg in the land of the sheep. We're going down to Wales. So next
Land of
week,
my fathers, my friend.
Cymru. Is that how you pronounce it?
Cymru.
Cymru. Potato. I will be
Good
with
win.
Greg.
I was going to say just while you mentioned the word Wales, great point for them against Croatia. Completely unexpected. Took off all their big players and some random Ipswich player scores his debut in added time.
Congrats to them as well, but not quite as good as us.
Looks like they'll be going to the Euros as well.
Probably end up in the same group as them. So yeah, I'll be with Greg next week. So you'll have to move the camera back or the chair back a bit so I can sit next to you.
I'll be myself.
It'll be me and Greg and Kyle in the Saltire. So
I'll maybe get my own special guest. Don't know who.
get one of the dogs on. They're usually barking together.
I'll probably away this point.
Well,
I'll have a think. I'll maybe get a wee guest on sit next to me.
But yeah, give a few shout outs this episode. But yeah, thank you very much for listening continuously. Really appreciate it. The views are starting to build up a bit. We're getting a lot more interaction. Queen Elizabeth South finally responded to one of our tweets. So thank you for that. Hopefully we'll get a bit of a partnership going on in the future, but we'll see. Yeah, any sponsorships, give us a shout, all that malarkey. But thank you very much. That's enough for this episode. See you later.
Ta-ra.
Godspeed.
Bye. Godspeed, Jack. Godspeed.